40 million US adults have turned to ChatGPT for healthcare. Today, we're going to talk about how they're using it and why that led ChatGPT to launch ChatGPT Health. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. ChatGPT has introduced ChatGPT Health, and this is both surprising and not surprising all at once. It's surprising in the sense that there has seemed at times in the past to be questions around how OpenAI wanted to handle people using ChatGPT in this way. It has appeared that the company has had concerns around people looking to ChatGPT as an alternative to their GP or doctor and the potential legal implications for that type of use, but clearly something has shifted and they are ready to lean in. Now, why it's not surprising is that this has seemed like a very big use case for some time, and recent data that the company shared made it clear just how big a use case it is. Earlier in the week, OpenAI released a report called AI as a Healthcare Ally: How Americans Are Navigating the System with ChatGPT. In that report, they shared that over 40 million weekly active users globally prompt about healthcare every single day. 1 in 4 weekly active users prompt about healthcare each week, which for those doing the math is over 200 million users. Overall, more than 5% of all ChatGPT messages globally are about healthcare. And so what are they asking? 55% are using ChatGPT to check or explore symptoms, basically what we used to do with WebMD. 52% are using it to ask questions at any time of day. In other words, get fast information when you have a concern rather than having to wait for when your doctor is available. 48% are using it to understand medical terms or instructions, given that medicine is in many cases a literal different language. And 44% are using it to learn about treatment options. OpenAI shares the truism that, as they put it, the healthcare system in the US is a long-standing and worsening pain point for many. And outside of that high-level data, there's even more interesting indications of just how powerful and in what ways AI can be a healthcare assistant. Based on anonymized ChatGPT message data, OpenAI found that nearly 2 million messages a week focus on health insurance specifically. That includes everything from comparing plans and understanding prices to handling claims and billing. In underserved communities, users send an average of nearly 600,000 healthcare-related messages each week. It also appears that outside of regular hours thing really matters, as 7 in 10 health conversations in ChatGPT happen outside of the normal hours that a clinic would be available. According to an OpenAI survey, 3 in 5 US adults report having used AI tools for health or healthcare issues in the past 3 months. And it actually really does seem like it's solving a problem. Digging deeper into this discovery that 600,000 health-related messages are sent from users in underserved rural areas in the US, OpenAI writes, in the US, about 1 in 5 people live in rural areas where populations skew older and face higher burdens of preventable disease and premature death. Inpatient care has become scarcer in rural communities since 2010, with 10 rural hospitals on average either closing or converting to models without inpatient beds each year. Financial pressure in these areas is widespread. Nearly 46% of all rural hospitals operate with negative margins, and more than 400 across 38 states are considered vulnerable to closure. AI, they write, will not on its own reopen a shuttered hospital, restore a discontinued OB unit, or replace other critical but vanishing services. But it can make a near-term contribution by helping people in underserved areas interpret information, prepare for care, and navigate gaps in access, while helping rare clinicians reclaim time and reduce burnout. Now, speaking of healthcare professionals, the report also talks about how they're using AI. They found that between 2023 and 2024, the percentage of American physicians who reported using AI for at least one use case jumped from 38 to 66%, and that survey data shows that 46% of US nurses use AI at least once a week. The report closes with some ideas around how we could safely expand the use of AI in healthcare, including ideas like opening and securely connecting the world's medical data to speed up scientific discovery, supporting workers' transitions into new healthcare professions that will be created and expanded by AI, and clarifying the regulatory pathway for AI medical devices for consumer use. So all of this came out on Monday of this week, pretty clearly setting up what happened next, which was the launch on Wednesday of ChatGPT Health. OpenAI's CEO of applications, Fiji Simo, wrote, "The launch of ChatGPT Health is really personal for me. I know how hard it can be to navigate the healthcare system even with great care. AI can help patients and doctors with some of the biggest issues." She expanded on this in a larger blog post called What AI Can Do for a Broken System. She started with the personal story of being in a hospital for a kidney stone and a secondary infection that had developed. After the resident in charge prescribed the usual antibiotic for that kind of infection, Fiji asked for a couple minutes before it was administered. She wrote, "Because I've been dealing with a chronic illness for years, I had already uploaded a lot of my health records into ChatGPT. I asked whether I should be taking this antibiotic given my medical history, and ChatGPT flagged that this particular antibiotic could reactivate a very serious infection I'd had a couple of years prior. She said that the resident was relieved and was glad Fiji had caught it, and when Fiji asked why it wasn't caught by someone at the hospital instead, The resident explained that she only has 5 minutes per patient when making rounds, and health records aren't organized in a way that would make that sort of risk clear. Fiji goes on to argue that within the context of 4 key problems with the healthcare system today, AI potentially has a role to play in addressing each one. The first is the problem she had just described, which is doctors not having enough bandwidth. AI has the potential to absorb much more information and help medical professionals make better decisions. It can also help that medical information be more understandable for the patients. The second problem, she writes, is that the healthcare system is fragmented, but health requires looking at the full picture. Once again, potentially AI could be the repository for a much broader set of context. Then there's the issue of cost and access, which were explored extensively in the report that we just talked about. And finally, she writes, our healthcare model is reactive rather than preventative. Again, this is a known truism believed by many, regardless of political persuasion, but Fiji reminds, according to the CDC, 5 of the top 10 causes of death in the US are associated with preventable and treatable chronic diseases. But our system is set up around going to see a doctor only when something is wrong. As some people have pointed out, we don't really have a healthcare system, we have a sick care system. Now, Fiji argues, with AI, anyone can have a daily companion to support their health journey. So that's the why, but what is the what? What does ChatGPT Health actually include? First of all, it is a dedicated health experience inside the application. In the announcement post, they write, you can now securely connect medical records and wellness apps like Apple Health, Function, and MyFitnessPal so ChatGPT can help you understand recent test results, prepare for appointments with your doctor, get advice on how to approach your diet and workout routine, or understand the trade-offs of different insurance options based on your healthcare patterns. The health section is going to be a dedicated space inside the application. They write that the conversations, connected apps, and files associated with health are stored separately from all other chats, and that health actually has separate memory distinct from everything else. And while ChatGPT can use context from non-health chats to improve a health conversation, it cannot go the other way. Health information and memories do not flow back into non-health chats, and non-health conversations can't access files, conversations, or memories created within health. They also say that they built this in collaboration with more than 260 physicians who have practiced in 60 countries, who have provided feedback on outputs over 600,000 times across 30 areas of focus. Now, right now, this is not generally available. You have to sign up for a waitlist, but people are already starting to weigh in. Simon Smith of Click Health wrote, I work in life sciences and ChatGPT Health is a big deal. 1, it will be available to all users, 900 million plus people. 2, it will be secured for health use, encrypted and isolated. 3, it will have key health app integrations and medical records. 4, it will be customizable with health-specific instructions. And 5, trusted, 260 doctors have given feedback 600,000 times. He wrote, I personally use ChatGPT for health extensively. I have a health project and have uploaded loads of information into it, including genetic information. I also update biometrics in that project monthly, and having direct integration with Apple Health will be awesome. Now, one of the things that people seem most excited about is the ability to correlate data from different sources. When Simon wrote, question for Fiji Simo or whoever is the product lead for ChatGPT Health, can I run custom analysis of Apple Health data with charts? Like, can I ask a question like, how do my daily steps correlate with how well I sleep, and get a chart that cross-references the data? Fiji said, yes, you can definitely do this, and then actually gave an example of a coworker asking exactly that. Simon reposted and said, I've tried to do biometric correlations in Apple Health, but it's a pain in the butt. Fiji replied to say, yes, we'll be able to run correlations right in ChatGPT Health. Very excited for this. And this correlation seems to be a big deal. Morgan Linton asks, curious if this can pull in data from Whoop and Function Health and cross-reference. That's the main thing that's been missing for me, is connecting blood test results with sleep, exercise, and heart rate data. Another reaction, of course, as with any launch from OpenAI, is about all the startups that just became redundant. Dilip Kumar writes, I meet dozens of AI health startups every week and can tell you this is a big deal. Most of them will become redundant once this gets adoption. Your medical triaging, nutrition, fitness training, rehab, mental health, all in one place. Or as Dr. Danish put it, 35 different digital health startups just died. Another thread of commentary is about how this creates a new type of defensibility. Akash Gupta writes, this is a data moat play disguised as a feature launch. The numbers tell the story. He basically says if so many people are already using ChatGPT for health, why build a special set of features? With the answer being, because right now those conversations are ephemeral. Users upload a lab result, get an answer, and the context evaporates. OpenAI can't train on it, can't personalize future responses, can't build compounding value. Connect your EHR and Apple Health. Now every conversation has continuity. Your lipid panel from April, your statin prescription from May, your flu shot from last year. All indexed, all searchable, all making the model more useful to you specifically. This creates a switching cost that's almost impossible to replicate. Google has search history. Meta has social graphs. OpenAI is building the health graph. Simon Smith again points out, people on X have been crapping all over OpenAI for months, then ChatGPT Health drops. Builds on and will expand high health use, will have huge beneficial impact, and is hard to copy. Privacy, security, regulatory, not coming to Grok or Claude anytime soon. Critics seem oddly quiet. And yet, of course, it is not all that hard to find critics. One strand of criticism continues to be that OpenAI is not focused. Journalist Shakil Hashim writes, "My take from last summer that OpenAI is way too distracted to succeed continues to age beautifully." Timo Springer writes, "It's no surprise that ChatGPT is struggling and losing market share. The product has become increasingly confusing for about 18 months. Features are launched and never touched again. Core workflows such as projects and GPTs perform significantly worse than competition. Newer features such as apps are brought to market half-baked. ChatGPT urgently needs a cleanup and improvement of its core product." AI entrepreneur Ethan Ding, however, doesn't agree. He says this is a common take, but OpenAI's internal strategy is remarkably sound. AI products are all or nothing. Good ones require no focus, see coding in ChatGPT. No way to test without shipping to market. Keep shipping till you hit the next jackpot. Only jackpots can justify its valuation. Still, maybe the more obvious and potentially problematic critique is around privacy. Josh Long writes, "So far, zero response from anyone at OpenAI regarding who at the company can decrypt and view your health data and for what purposes. That's concerning, to say the least. And the vague claims about privacy and security in the blog post aren't helpful." Jonathan Shedler writes, "You guys do what you want, but I'm a healthcare provider and there's no way I would upload my private medical data to an AI. And no way in hell I would upload mental health information." I am completely sympathetic to that point of view, and I'm sure that there will be many people who feel that way. But as someone who has spent a long time sitting around industries and projects that are convinced that people should care more about their privacy and data sovereignty than they actually do, I don't think there's any chance that in general, those types of concerns will stop people who want answers about their health from just uploading an utter boatload of information to this system, even if others think they shouldn't. Now, obviously, I am someone for whom my major use cases around AI are all for work. However, this is one where I'm about to go sign up for this waitlist. I have vibe coded numerous applications to try to tweak around highly specific health goals that I have, and I'm very excited to see it natively built into ChatGPT. For now, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Until next time, peace.